If you want to maintain a healthy savings mindset and cut unnecessary expenses in 2024, then keep watching this video from start to finish because here I will show you 24 ways to do that. The reason I'm making this video is because according to a bank rate survey done last year, more than 50% of Americans don't have enough money to cover 3 months of expenses and 20% have no emergency savings at all. For many of us, saving money can be tough for various reasons. The cost of living is going up, especially in areas like rent and childcare. Wages and salaries are not increasing as much, which makes it harder to save, especially with rising cost. In addition, many Americans have a lot of debt like student loans and credit cards, which takes a big chunk of their income, leaving little for savings. But most of us know that saving is crucial for financial stability and long term goals. If saving is hard for you now, it doesn't mean it will always be. And saving money doesn't mean you can't enjoy life. It basically means being smart about your choices and priorities. By implementing these tips that I'm going to share with you in just a moment, you will not only save money but also develop healthy saving mindset that will benefit you for years to come. So let's get into it. The first important step is to track your spending and create a budget to see where your money is going. If you haven't done that yet, a great habit is to carry a notebook or you can use a note section in your phone and track your expenses. Since a lot of us use credit cards for paying bills and buying things, we can also track our spending by looking at our credit card statements. I know this is boring, but trust me, it will help you. You need to gather all your credit card statements, including the ones from stores like Target, Amazon, from the past few months. Then sit down and go through each statement carefully and categorize your expenses into different groups. Create categories such as groceries, dining out, rent or mortgage, childcare, transportation, and entertainment. Add up the total amount spent in each category for each statement and compare them. This way, you can identify any patterns or trends in your spending habits. So, you can spot areas where you need to cut back. You can also use online tools or apps going forward to track your spending. I have another video covering some of these popular budgeting apps, so you can check that out in the cards above. The cool thing about using these apps is that they can categorize your expenses for you and provide visual representation, like in the form of a pie chart, so that you can easily see where your money is going. Or you can use spreadsheet for that. It doesn't matter which tool you use. The essential thing is to find a system that works for you so that you continue to use it going forward. Next tip for increasing your saving is to break that impulsive buying habit. Impulse purchases are something that we don't plan and we just buy it at that moment. Purchasing last minute concert tickets because your friends are going would be one example. So, how do you control these shopping cravings? The first step is to understand your triggers. These triggers could be due to emotional factors, deals and sales, and external pressures to fit in. Take a moment to think about what emotions or situations make those impulsive purchases. Once you have identified your triggers, you can create a plan to minimize exposure to them. So, first, let's start by unsubscribing from any promotional emails or unfollowing shopping related accounts on social media. In the book Atomic Habits, James Clear mentioned that to break a habit, we have to make it hard and create some frictions in it. So, one way to do that is to log out of Amazon app from your phone. So, every time you have to buy something, you have to put the login. It creates some extra friction and can be a useful tip to break that habit. Then make sure to have a list before you go for shopping and try to stick to it without just aimlessly browsing throughout the store or on the website. If you find that you are spending too much on impulse purchases, try implementing a spending freeze where you consciously set a limit on discretionary spending on for a certain period, let's say a week. Challenge yourself to only spend on essential items during this time. Another tip to stop the impulse purchase is to sleep on it, which means that waiting for a day or two and then you revisit your decision. A lot of times the impulse will go away. The third tip is to understand the difference between wants and needs. Needs or necessities are things that we cannot live without, like food, water, clothing, shelter, and in today's age, some utilities like internet. And wants are things that a person would like to have but don't need for survival. A want may be in, eating out, expensive shoes, some electronics, traveling, branded clothes and accessories, or buying expensive cars, and the list can go on and on. Basically, living life in luxury. You can do all of that if you follow this simple rule, which brings me to my next point. The fourth very important habit that you must adopt this year is to follow this simple 50-30-20 rule, where you allocate 50% of your after tax income to your needs and 30% of your after tax income to wants such as dining, entertainment, vacations, and hobbies, and 20% of your after tax income to savings and investment. So, such as retirement contributions and even paying off some debts. Here are some tips for getting started with the 50-30-20 rule. Start with your paycheck. Subtract the amount withheld for taxes from your total earnings. Do not subtract other amounts that may be withheld or automatically deducted, like health insurance or retirement contributions. Then you automate 20% of after tax income to savings by setting up automatic transfer from checking to a separate savings account. This is the easiest way to save where you are not touching that money. If you can do 20% yet, start with 5%, but make sure to keep some money for you that is just for saving. Most online savings account offer this feature. This way saving becomes a habit that happens without much thought. After that, you can spend 50% on your needs and 30% on your wants. The fifth mindset habit you need to break this year is to keep up with Joneses. Many of us do that. In fact, I used to do that. If my neighbors or friend enjoy a specific lifestyle, I would like to copy that. But don't overspend because of peer pressure. You need to see your financial goals. It takes discipline, but it is doable. You need to understand that those people who you are trying to copy have a certain lifestyle because they have worked hard towards it. It certainly doesn't come that quick. So if you're ready to put in that much effort, increase your income, then yes, you can enjoy that lifestyle. But just comparing your life with others who appear richer to you doesn't make sense. And it can put a lot of pressure on your finances. The next tip is to define clear goals instead of having a vague idea on saving money. Specific goals give you the motivation and focus. Figure out what you are saving for. Set clear targets and break them into smaller milestones. This helps you track progress and stay motivated. If you don't have an emergency fund, make it your first saving goal. But you might also have other saving goals like saving for a home down payment or for travel. So some online saving accounts let you allocate money for each specific goal. I use Ally Bank and it has a free budget tool that allows me to automatically distribute new money to designated buckets within my account. The next habit, which can be difficult for many of us, is to try to practice delayed gratification. Instead of buying something immediately by taking debt, save up for it and enjoy the feeling of accomplishment when you can finally purchase it. One way to practice delayed gratification is by rewarding yourself with a purchase only after you reach a specific savings goal. Don't make plans to travel to that holiday destination just because everyone else is doing it on your social media feed. If you can't afford it yet, instead save money for it, and then once you can afford it, it will feel really great. Similarly, for any large expenses, start saving in advance and set specific goals. For example, you want to save $1,400 over the next 8 weeks, then think about the ways you can get there. If you spend $100 per week on getting lunch and going for happy hour with your coworkers, you could consider cutting that expense temporarily to put that money towards your vacation. So work hard towards your saving goals and then only spend money on your desires and hobbies when you can actually afford it. All of this takes discipline and it can be done over time. So stay persistent. The next tip is to increase your earnings. If your current income makes it hard to save more, this might include a side job, freelancing work, or asking your employer for a raise, or maybe pursuing a totally different career opportunity. But avoid lifestyle inflation. In theory, saving money can get easier when we have more income. But as our income grows, our discretionary expenses tend to increase, which affects our overall lifestyle. This is called lifestyle inflation. While occasional splurges are okay, raising expenses as you earn more can slow down your saving. So be mindful of that. Another important habit is to understand the difference between assets and liabilities. Try not to go in debt for liabilities. Liabilities are things that depreciate over time. It is okay to invest in yourself, like for your education, for a well researched business or real estate, because these are assets and investment in them will likely give you good returns in the long run. The benefits of investing in these will certainly outweigh the cost. Unfortunately, many times we easily spend money on dining out and entertainment, but will be hesitant to spend on getting a certification that can help us advance in our career. So, hopefully, you understand the difference between assets and liabilities and where you should be spending your money. The next tip is simple, but it is surprising that many people don't know about it. I'm talking about leaving your extra money at your house, in your checking account, and in a traditional savings account. Because of inflation, the value of your money will decline over time. So, what should you do with that extra cash? You can put it in a high yield savings account, and after you have enough savings to cover 6 to 12 months of your expenses, start investing your money in a tax advantaged investments. Don't forget to make use of retirement accounts through your employers, such as 401k. Once you put the money, you have to select where to invest your money in. The biggest mistake many investors make is to open up a 401k account and put the money in and think that they are already invested, but they forgot that they have to buy stuff with it. So, if you're not sure what to buy, target date retirement funds and index funds are a great place to start. The next tip for 2024 is to educate yourself financially. It could be through reading personal finance books, watching the videos, or listening to a podcast. But it is very important to acquire the financial literacy because this stuff is not taught in schools. And this is something that we all need, how to manage our money wisely, how to save for retirement. So make sure you get the knowledge. I have several videos on this topic, including ones on whether to buy a house or rent it, and many others. So make sure to check those out. Another important tip to save money is to learn basic home repairs and DIYs. In my house, we have done a lot of DIYs. It is not very difficult to learn. You can watch a lot of videos and save a lot of money. The next tip is interesting, and I make this mistake all the time. We tend to be people pleaser. We should learn to say no. It is okay to decline invitation or to an event if it strains your budget. You don't have to spend unnecessarily, and always remind yourself of a larger saving and investment goals. The 15th tip is not to use retail therapy for stress management. Shopping shouldn't be used as a coping mechanism for stress, sadness, or negative emotions. You can seek healthier alternatives to deal with these things. For example, practicing self-care, talking to a trusted friend, or joining some type of a support group, or talking with a therapist. Another tip for this year is to set reminders for bill payment. If you happen to miss bills, then you will incur late charges. So you can stop this by setting reminders on your phone calendar. In fact, you can put multiple reminders. Paying your bills early needs discipline but has big rewards. There are no late fees or service issues when you pay ahead. You can also start auto payment if that is an option. So make sure to pay your bills a little bit ahead of the due date. This will also ensure good credit score. My 17th tip is for parents and for future parents. Talk to your kids about money, set limits on spending, and teach good habits. Give them a small allowance like $5 to $50 depending on their age group. It will help them learn to manage money and build valuable life skills. When they get the allowance, they can either choose to spend it or invest in a guardian account. So, this is the best thing you can teach them, as money management and personal finance is not taught at schools. I like to teach my kids the importance of savings and investing early and the power of compounding using this fun calculator. And you can see how the money will grow over time when you input different numbers. So this is something me and my son have done, and he understands that it is important to invest early if you want to become wealthy. The next tip is important for those carrying any type of credit card debt. Always make sure to pay the debt in full. Paying just the minimum amount on your credit card debt is a trap that many credit card companies want you to get into. If you cannot pay the entire credit card balance each month at the moment, aim to pay more than the minimum payment amount and commit to slowly increasing it each month. Even a few extra dollars can help uh, the debt to decrease, and then you don't have to pay overly high interest rate in future. The average credit card interest rate in America today is 25%. This is from the website Lending Tree, where they're breaking down different types of rates according to the different types of credit cards. In my 19th tip, let's talk about some common ways to save money and shop smartly. I have covered some of these in my previous videos, but we will reinstate some of them. So, one is to meal plan and smart shopping. When you do meal planning, you don't have to worry about uh, last minute takeouts and impulse purchases. When it comes to saving on groceries, you can also buy generic brands. They often offer similar quality at a lower price. The next step is about learning which food items you should buy organic. You don't need to buy everything organic. I used to buy everything organic, but I found that these are the only produce I should buy organic. Foods with thin skin like cucumbers, apples, berries, tomatoes, potatoes, and grapes have higher pesticide content, so we should preferably buy those organic if possible. On this website, they list produce that you don't need to buy organic, as they don't offer any additional advantage. Their list includes melon, kiwi, papaya, carrot, cabbage, and few others. But again, try to at least include produce in your meal planning, whether or not they're organic. The next interesting tip that I'm going to apply this month is called the Pantry Challenge. If you make a weekly trip to grocery store or weekly grocery delivery order, the Pantry Challenge will put those shopping trips on hold until you have used up all the food that's currently taking up space in your pantry, freezer, and refrigerator. Let's be honest, we all have some grocery items that we forgot to use, and then they generally expire. And then we keep buying some other things. So, by doing this challenge, it can help you save money in the short run, and it will also challenge your recipe creativity at the same time. If you force yourself to participate in a pantry challenge every few months, It can lead you to create better buying habits that will reduce food wastage and keep more money in your wallet in the months and years to come. The next tip is to cut on too many memberships and subscriptions. Also, take a look at all the store credit cards and memberships you have taken and evaluate if you even regularly use them compared to the fees that you have to pay annually on them. The common ones are Costco, Target, Walmart Plus, Macy's, Kohl's. So you really need to look at it and see if you can consolidate or cancel some based on your spending. Similarly, cut on cable and streaming services that you don't use. Next tip is about shopping for clothing. So try to go for discounted items and shop during big sales like Thanksgiving, but don't end up buying more than what you need because sometimes these discounts can work against us. We end up spending more than we originally had planned. So be careful about that. Again, sticking to a budget will help you with this. To save money on utilities, consider reducing your energy uses by unplugging electronics when they're not in use and turning off lights. You can also try negotiating bills and compare prices for services like internet, insurance, and phone plans. So, if you want to make a big purchase, you need to do a thorough research before making any big financial decision. Make sure to read reviews and compare prices to find the best deal. And my last tip for 2024 is don't fret about it. It takes time to develop a new habit and break old habits. So be patient with yourself. It's okay if sometimes you go over the budget, especially when you're stressed. The key is to stick to your goals and restart after a financial mistake. Instead of making big changes, start small. Choose one or two tips from this video that seem doable and concentrate on them. Once you get the hang of, for example, budgeting and saving, you can try another tactic. The basic idea is to change your mindset so you can create lasting habits that will promote your financial well being, regardless of any external challenges. I hope you like this video and will start implementing some of these tips right away. And I will see you soon in my next one. If you liked today's video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Take care. Bye.